youth career development programs, attracting the participation of international youth from all over the globe. So the first picture here, it was last year when we organized a couple of business salons where, something just like what we are having today. And I did that here in Hangzhou. I organized a couple of, as you can see, we have a lot of Africans who are quite interested in setting up their businesses. So we organized some events for them to understand local policies for you to start up a company and all that. A couple of them, but now this year, because of the pandemic, it's actually quite challenging. But last year at the end of the year, I think it was quite stable enough, so we organized quite a lot of those events. And we also organized a lot of cultural exchange events, bringing on cultural events, we mainly focus on the African culture. So, it's diverse. We have a lot of cultures there back home, but, we just try to generalize it, the generalization part of our culture. So as you can see here, I'm putting on Tashik, which is the Eastern African kind of, passion. And yeah, we brought the African drum and all that, and organized a couple of events with some local organizations. Yeah, so that's my brand. So how have I been helping also African products to actually penetrate the local market? Last year in November, yes, I partnered with the China-Africa Bridge, which is an e-commerce platform based in Hangzhou. They were the co-organizers of the China-Africa Week, which is organized yearly in Tsinghua. This year it was organized as well. And this year we could go there because of the pandemic. But as I said last year, the situation was a bit stable. So APL organized 10 African live streaming, young live streamers or anchors to go to Tsinghua and to participate in this China-Africa product promotion. So one of the things that actually I still remember there, that most of the products that we had there, most of them were just bought from Taobao. They are kind of replica products. They are not actually from Africa. Just a few of them were like really, really African products. So this actually, brought to me a kind of feeling that I think we have a very big opportunity as the young entrepreneurs in China to really bring those products that are back home, to really launch them here locally. I would wish that we can actually have our African brands, here locally, that if I go to a particular shop here, I can find maybe an African beer or the African beverage or something like that. Those kind of things that there are, but fortunately enough, there are already some entrepreneurs who have seen that game and they're trying to leverage on it. And as we were doing the live streaming last year, I've seen some like wine from South Africa, Mauritius, and also some nuts from Tanzania, and some dried fruits from Rwanda, all of those things. So with some of the policies that have been developed recently, and actually what I was reading in the Vision 2035, the China-Africa Cooperation, and also the 2022-2024 Forecast Action Plan, you can see that China is also going to try to open up opportunities for African agricultural products, to more of them to actually penetrate the Chinese market. But I think what we can do as the African young entrepreneurs is how to see how we can add value to those products. Let's export our ideas back home, promote value addition, and bring in those value-added products as brands and launch them locally. I've seen China Africa Bridge, they already have some brands that are actually African in a certain way, but they are made by China Africa Bridge, which is a Chinese enterprise. They already have established a few products here in Hangzhou. They have the tea from Tanzania. They also have some, a couple of products that they are trying to launch, and this is an African brand, but, made by a Chinese enterprise. Why can't we also do the same? We can try to partner with some companies here, as you have seen in my first slide that I have showed you that Snow Beer was a joint venture of a Chinese enterprise and African enterprise. So we can also try to see how we can leverage on that. And also franchising, I think we can also try to find a way how we can lobby to bring the already existing large brands that are there back home to come and launch their products here locally. I think it can also be good. Since we are still starting up and we might not have very big influence to actually, exploit the whole Chinese market. So we can see how we can leverage. So these are some of the sharing, some of the pictures. This is actually me and one of our sisters there from Mauritius, Suma, with Dr. in there. We were doing a live streaming there, and the thing that we're playing there is an African instrument from Zimbabwe. And actually, we were selling, I remember it was the Mauritius wine there, so we were just trying to entertain the viewers and the customers. So, once again, I recommend everyone here to actually follow the trends. If you can see all of those opportunities that are being developed locally, even those trade fairs, business salons, try as much as possible to take part in them and see how you can actually utilize those platforms to also share something about your products there, so that the locals can actually understand what you're working on. And I was fortunate enough this year, together with the host Olivia, and to take part in the China Africa Youth Innovation and Entrepreneurship Forum, which was held in Changsha during the China Africa International Trade Expo. So I remember during that period of time, during the round table, there were quite, as you can see on this picture, there are a lot of Chinese entrepreneurs here, and some of them are actually very young. And I remember quite well, there was this guy who started Kilimao in Africa, which is an e-commerce platform, right, for African products. So those are some of the opportunities that you can actually try to leverage. We had a lot of Chinese entrepreneurs there, and less African entrepreneurs. We have a lot of them locally, but I think we are hiding behind. Let's come out. Even if you have ideas, you don't have a startup capital, as I said, try to take part in some of these events. You can actually find some good partners. You can actually also take part in those competitions and actually launch your ideas as products. And this is our brother Pacific, and also one of our brothers, Dr. Brett from South Africa. He also have started his platform, which focuses on medical products. He designed some products for the African, market, but actually utilize local resources. So those are some of the things that we can try to do. And recently, under the FOCAC, there was this was a season for promoting African products through e-commerce, right? So I also took part in that. Here, I remember it was, it actually happened in several places. The main station was in Hainan, and our sister Malia, who is actually here also, she was a live streamer there. She did quite a lot in that. And for me, I was just here, and we had the Chimpa, kind of a substation where it also promoted the African products. But again, we have less African products here. So I think I view this not as a challenge, but actually an opportunity that would actually need us to actually go and actually explore and exploit it. Thanks a lot, and actually that's all I had. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I didn't have much time to actually make preparation of a very rich presentation, but I think from this you can actually get a basic test of what we can do as African young entrepreneurs and how we can launch African brands locally. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to questions and interaction. Let's make this a discussion. It's not actually a lecture. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eric, for comprehensive. It was quite comprehensive, sharing, touching on the topic while sharing with us your own experience. Nothing can stop you. You use some keywords. Nothing can stop you. You also gave some tips on or some reasons why we should launch the African brands here in China. And actually, the keywords that I took from there is to build and to lift up the African agency, right? That's from that point. And also, you brushed on the how to leverage the opportunities and establish the African brand here. Say, joining competitions, not only to win, but also to turn ideas into product. But then, again, another keywords, be happy to start small, just do it, no idea is small. And thank you also for what you've been doing with the abroad part leaders, the APL. It's also, in a way, lifting up the African agency. It's actually through social welfare, right? If you say social enterprises, of course you're a philanthropist, but using social welfare to brand it, also to impact the entrepreneurship. That's a very interesting perspective. Thank you for that. And I think we can go over the second presentation because the theme is the same, and then the question can all come together will be addressed to them and to all of us that here. Yes, but yeah, please. We also do want to directly share the pizza. Just please, if you can proceed, and then.
So guys,
yeah.
maybe if you want some pizza, you can eat.
Yes. Okay.
Put it on the table.
Yes, you can. Yeah. So thank you. So. Yes. So without further ado, because we also do want to hear from a very, it was very an interesting perspective from Eric, but we also do want to go through. We also do want to hear about Pacific. He has a very, very interesting and relatable experience. He just launched a product, an e-commerce platform, the so-called Taobao for foreigners. Very interesting, and we're really, really, really actually curious to hear about your experience, on the topic, how this topic actually it fits you the best. How they say 量身定做的, right? So how to actually launch your product here in China, not just launching, but how also to make it survive. I think Eric also touched on that. It's not just a matter of launching, but actually to have it operate, because it's something that should also be sustainable. So yeah, without further ado, I'll give the floor to Brother Pacific. Please, we want to hear about your experience on the topic, and then later on, I'll be opening the floor for any remarks, comments, or questions. And you and everyone in their capacity will be able to share. So Pacific, you have the floor. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hello everyone. Can you see my PPT?
Yes.
All right, great. Yes, I will, first of all, my name is Pacific Twizere, and I'm the founder and CEO at Neza Technology. And yeah, I would like to talk about how to successfully launch your product in China. As our brother Olivier was saying, that we just launched a product called Bezabai. Yeah, I also talk about it, and then mine is not going to be more. It's going to be actually more of an experience, like about myself and how I came up with this idea. All right. So let me actually show you what I'll talk about. Talk about myself, talk about creating value, opportunities, and how to boost yourself. All right. So let me first actually introduce myself to you so that you know who is actually sharing this idea to you. Yes, so as I said, my name is Tuesday Pacific, and my life is actually in you can find it in three kind of like ways. I'm a businessman, I love my family, and I like music. With that, you just summarize me. All right, so I'm a CEO at NESA Technology, and I'm a recent graduate. I graduated actually this year, June, and I'm also a gospel artist and singer, and I love creativity and innovation. I've quite learned some quite few life lessons that I think I can also share them to you. One is that in this business world, if you can't fail if you don't quit. That's one. Second is that actually nothing will work until you do. And another thing is, which is actually sometimes controversial to some people, but if you create value, money will follow. So notice the difference is not you just first follow the money and then create value, but if you create value, the money will follow. And then another one, last one is that opportunities are for prepared men. So if you want to leverage opportunity, be prepared. All right. So in this talk, we will be talking about like the products, right? Launching your product. So in this case, we are talking about a startup, right? So I would like actually to hear from you. What do you think a startup is? What do you think a startup is? Just maybe one or two people, and then I continue my talk. Just to tell me what you just think about startups. What's a startup in your kind of like words that you can say? Just two people, then you continue. Anyone who wants to try?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maria. Yeah, I think when you use the word startup, it's something you have to, you already think, you already observe. There's something, there is a door outside there, and how to open this door. You think there's a door first. When you think about the door, then you think how to open the door. Then you think to open the door, need to have a key. So you have to have those thinking. Those are the definition of startup. You cannot just say, okay, startup, I need money. No. Why you need this money? How you want to get the money? Okay, I have a house I want to build. But there is a house, a name called house. So the mere fact you think about a house and you already think what it costs, what is the value of that house. When you think about that, I think that is a startup in life. Thank you.
Wonderful. Good. Any other person? Great. Come on, just one more person and then we continue. Good.
Well, just to save you time, I will buy us time. I think starting of just going along the line with what Maria said is when you have some thoughts that you want to turn into product and you want to try. You want to give life to your thinking. Let's say I thought of a product and I want to materialize it. I want to give it a shot. I think that could be a startup as well. So please,
correct.
expert.
That's one.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. So actually, all of you, what you have touched is good, but the common bar I can discern from that is that you have an opportunity that is there, and you want actually to leverage that opportunity. You have seen a gap in the market, and you want to create something that can make it work. So a startup actually, it's like startups are young companies founded to develop a unique product, which is that opportunity that you were saying that you have found, bring it to the market and make it irresistible or irrepressible for customers. It means that you build a unique product and you make it that it's irreplaceable, but you build it focusing on your customers. And this is important. All right. And then I'll share a little bit about my journey, about starting up. I arrived in China in 2014, and then 2018, I already found an opportunity to leverage. I found that there is difficulties for foreigners to communicate back home. You know, you can't go Google, you can't go YouTube and everything like that. I said, okay, I know maybe it might not be encouraged, but this is a door. So I created an app called Agakoti. With Agakoti, it was having a mission to have easy communication for us and research in China. So it means that you can contact your parents now through your Facebook, you contact them now through, you could do research on Google or something like that. So when I've gone back in my country, 2019, I registered my company, Neza Technology in Rwanda. Yes, and then when I came back again in China, 2020, I registered Neza Technology in China. And then recently, 2021, of course, I launched Neza Buy, another opportunity that I found where we can make technology ease the online shopping for foreigners in China. So that's my journey. And these are the two examples of my Chama products. Actually, there is something here that I want to touch, is that not every product requires money to start. There are some projects or some products that doesn't require a lot of money for you to start. For example, Agakoti, this of myself, I started alone, but I started with 300 RMB. Come on, anyone can find 300 RMB, right? Later, I created that value and it has grown. Then I hired a team. We are together now as a team. Now it's worth more than 5 million RMB. So it's not that I just waited to see that maybe let me first have 1 million and then I will start this project. No, money is not the only investment you can make. Me, I had those 300 RMB. I had my knowledge of software programming, so I started, and then I created value and the money followed. So with Neza Buy, it's a bit of a different, because for it had to have some kind of concrete capital to start with. So we started with at least 1 million secured before we launched, and then we see a lot of money in the future, because we know that we're going to create a lot of value for foreigners and even Chinese here in China and even globally. All right. Okay, so as I was saying, create value. Focus on creating a value, right? Identify a need and understand your customers, right? Okay, so actually, what is it needed? Why actually many people fail? There is many reasons for startups to fail. One is that, which is really the common one that people do, is that you see that 42% of people fail because they are building something that is not needed. It's something that it's a product that is never needed. So you didn't find an opportunity, or at least maybe when you found an opportunity, you thought it was an opportunity, but it was not. You didn't validate. Actually, there was no such a thing. So other reasons like run out of cash also is there, don't have the right team, which is very important also, and competition. But the most important thing that I want us, at least if there is nothing you can get from this talk, get this one. Don't build something that is not needed on the market. All right? So identify the need of your product, and never start by registering a company like many people does. No, first identify that product and then create that value. So if you create that value, I assure you that money will follow, because that's actually the principle of the money. Okay, all right. So how do you validate and define your opportunity that you have found? First, you have identified there is a gap, there is a problem. So understand the problems. If you are in China and you find that maybe a lot of people, maybe like, okay, so let's say you see that there is maybe no coffee here, and then understand if there is a need for actually people who are very interested in that coffee. And then from there, you can start from there and then see how you can import that product here. And there are many other examples that you can find. There are many gaps that you actually are there, but you need to find the right one and actually go head on with it. So, who are your target group? Are you focusing on foreigners? Are you focusing on Chinese? Are you focusing on government? Are you focusing? So decide who you are focusing on. It doesn't matter if it's a small. I will actually advise you to first target something that is small, as it may not require or scare you to start very, very big in order to be high. Like for example, for us, we started on foreigners on Nezabai as an e-commerce platform, but we have a bigger goal for Nezabai to be global. But we know that if we can conquer and have foreigners here in China using Nezabai, it can go far. And you dominate that market, then you can go and also maybe expand in Africa, expand in Asia, expand in Europe, create even more technology. All right? So how do you validate? Actually, you can perform some markets research, you can assess the capabilities, if you have the capabilities to develop it, and then start by documenting the solution. So this will help you to find a good fit between your capabilities and the opportunity that is out there. All right? Okay, another thing is that if you found an opportunity and you are able to do that, don't wait too long. Like I will develop it maybe in 3 years to come. But if you found it, a lot of people are tempted to directly say, okay, so I want a really very, very perfect thing to be on the market. You have identified, yes, and maybe you've done some research, but you may be surprised after you launch it that actually people want it a different way. So if you have invested a lot of time building it in a way people won't have, like those features you have implemented it, maybe let's say in a software perspective, maybe you put there like a lot of buttons but that are useless and no one is going to click on them. Instead, you can actually start by putting only one button. If it's a buy button, just one buy button, and then if other people, you will now focus on getting the feedback. If people say actually it will have been better if we have this kind of way to communicate maybe with others, that you can improve. Of course, there are basic you will see that people will need according to your research, but my point is launch faster, review and learn what is really needed. Not always everything is needed, you will find out. All right. So this takes us to the third thing, which are the opportunities in China, which I'm going to take us through. Now you find your idea, you are launching. Now, after you launch, you find your business fit. Then you need to think of now having some opportunities that in China, whether it's in the legal perspective or about registering the businesses, yes, something like that. All right. So first thing I want to talk about, after you have found your feet and then you launched your product in a way, a target small customer that you can review, like get feedback on and review. This is what you do. You have to be legit, yeah, as soon as you can. If you see that this is really something that is profitable. So registering a company, I actually want to bring to your attention that almost in the whole China, at least in many provinces that are right, company registration is free, whether you are a foreigner or you are a Chinese. But of course, you must have been scared like me for the first time when I was still a student and I wanted to register my company, and I called the guy and said, I want to register a company, and the guy told me, yes, I can help you, but you have to give me 10,000 RMB. I said, what? 10,000 RMB? And then I got scared. Maybe you have been there before. Yeah, so these are agents. Actually, what they do, they go and register on your place. But really, even if you are looking for an agent, don't look for, always find for not expensive one. The only challenges that is there actually is the Chinese language. So Kambudong, if you don't understand Chinese, at least if you can read these characters that I put here, then yes, consider paying an agent to help you register. Right? Okay. Yeah. All right. I suggest when you are going to open your company, to see if you can have the Chinese in the part of your shareholder in a way, because there are a lot of many things that subsidiaries that really focus on the cooperation between Chinese and foreigners, but it doesn't mean that you give him a lot of share. You can give just few share, but let his name be among the shareholders. There are some ways, some place you won't struggle like only one person, like someone who only owns 100% of his company without maybe a Chinese impact. For example, when you are applying the visa, when you are going to do an insurance, they may ask you someone like a contact in your company to have an insurance, for you to have an insurance, you need at least two Chinese actually. So if you have that one Chinese, you just look for another one. So there are other things, I can't just say right now because of time, but there are other things that really can help if you have a Chinese partner into that. So another myth I want to demystify is that you don't need a visa to have a company. In fact, mine, I opened it when I was in my last year of master's degree. So my last year, I kind of was studying and also opened an office behind the school. So when I'm not in class, I go in my office outside the school. Yeah, so it's possible. I just don't want you guys to have the debate that I did before. So that's the main essence of me talking today. So I suggest you hire an accountant, which is not very expensive sometimes, depending on the cities. Mine is like 200 RMB every month, kind of something. But it helps you because tax system here in China changes a lot, and those kind of companies that have accountants, they connected to they are connected to the government, so it's going to be easier. So if possible, you can, as soon as possible, maybe have a bank account so that your transaction will be professional. Yeah. So, but again, I have to warn you, don't really start by registering a company if you don't have a product. So first, see your product fit and register your business, please. Okay. All right. So subsidiaries, I will say that in order to continue to survive and have your product arrive to many people, you need also money, right? So there are some subsidiaries depending on provinces and cities. You can also try to attend some competitions if possible with your idea, or you can find out some policies in your region. You can approach investors. Yes, always be prepared to pitch your idea. And yes, raise more funds as far as you can go. All right? So there are incubators that my brother Eric said. Actually, if you work with the incubators, most of the incubators will leverage, will help you in these things about registering your business that I talked before. You may not be really go through this alone. If you have an incubator at your back, and they also expand your network. Actually, me, when I was creating my company, I didn't know this idea of incubators. They are here in China who focuses on foreigners. So now that I know, I think it's a good thing to do. So you launch is also like one of them. So yeah, so they help you expand your network, help you with government policies, give you operating spaces like offices, yeah, and you grow with like-minded people like you, entrepreneurs, and yeah, the environment is very important. All right, so the last, now boost yourselves. Yes, it's very important actually to take advantage of social media and the media as a whole. So if possible, you can invite some media houses. Here, as you see this picture, I was launching Netherby. I had some contacts with my leaders, and then they could arrange like a TV station to come, and as they come, they put your word out so that people know about this. And also another thing I will recommend is that if possible, you can spend some few money, you contract a designer so that every content that will come from your company or your business will be looking professional. This way, you like in business always we have to build trust. So with this in mind, if you have a good image, a good looking information, make sure that everything that goes out is on point. You are actually marketing in a way, you're building trust even in your customers that will see all those contents. And strongly suggest if you maybe a product as like a product of like from our country or another product you start, identify the platforms that are existing that already is targeting your target that is for you that is easier to reach, because you building up the momentum and getting many users, if you just go by yourself, it may take you a while. But if you find some platforms that can accommodate you and they are targeting already your target group, it will also accelerate you. So of course, if it includes foreigners, then you're welcome. Join Netherby. We are also focusing on foreigners, as I was saying, and you can have a shop on Netherby and sell your products. And as we have many users already who are using the first Agapoti app that I was talking about, and they are also raising more influence here in China. So it's good that you can create a shop on Netherby. So it includes it includes the Chinese, and you want really go head on the Chinese also. Then you can also consider also platforms like Taobao and something like that. Yes, and JD and many like that. And join live streaming, create a channel, anything that can take you out there is very welcome. All right, so keep marketing. Leave the mentality that if I've built it, people will come. It's never like that. If you don't, they don't come actually because you built it, because you launched it. They come because they know about it, right? And they come because they need it. And they come because you have convinced them to come. So keep this in mind and keep marketing your idea wherever you are. Let it be in your blood and in your conviction to sell, actually market your idea so that people it will create that value that you were looking for. All right. So more about, I wanted to take some few times and talk about also some my back home a bit, not too long. So Netherby has a mini program which makes it easier for us to share between us, and we have a vision of having a multi-language like English and French and Arabic, but right now we are focusing on English. So for the sellers, we have a dashboard that will tell you that from this dashboard, that's where you upload your products and everything like that. So our website is netherby.cn. Yes, you find products from home, and we are still building, just launched, so we are building the momentum. And we have a partnership with China African Bridge, where they want to put like more than 1,000 African imported products. So yeah, so you are welcome to join the trend and we move together. All right, so that's what I wanted to talk about today. So for more information, this is my WeChat, and actually at the left, this is the QR code of our mini program Netherby. So I hope this was very helpful. Thank you so much, and I will look forward to the Q&A that you will to answer your questions as I can. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Brother Pacific. Very insightful, and thank you also, Eric. Just to save some time, I think both of your presentation, it's always good to share about something and to give suggestions when you yourself you've been through the whole process. So I believe what they shared with us today, and as transitioning from a student perspective to an entrepreneur, yes, they've been, whatever they shared with us today, they've been through every single step. You could see that in Eric's presentation, you could see that in Pacific's presentation, who just launched his Netherby e-commerce platform. So thank you very much for also taking time to prepare and to share with us your experiences, sharing with us your challenges as well. But I want to open the floor to people that are also entrepreneurs or students that might also have some questions, some comments, some suggestions. Yes, because it's a discussion. So yeah, I want to give also the floor to everyone, because this is not a lecture that we just listen to them, but you should also be able to point out some sort of I don't know, if you can give them some advices, you can give them some suggestions, you can ask them some questions, and not only them, but all of us, will try also to answer to the question at our capacity, because I believe at this table and also online, I think 70% are entrepreneurs. So yes, so I open the floor. Whoever might speak, please, I think you can coordinate as well. Yes. Yes, of course. Please, yeah. Okay, thank you. Brother Patrice, you expected that, right? So yes.
Yeah.
All right, good afternoon everyone. Good afternoon Eric, Pacific. It's good to see you again, although we are not face to face, thanks to the advancement in technology. Yeah, thank you both for your wonderful presentation. I've got one question first for Pacific. I would like to know, is there any other platform that is quite similar to what you have so far?
Okay. All right. Other platforms that are similar that at least took my time to research about. One is Motherland Stuff. Motherland Stuff, they also have this kind of like vision to bring those products from home to the Chinese market, also to the foreigners. Their platform, so we kind of like have similar idea, but it's okay. We can coexist and continue to run.
Okay.
Another platform that I found is called how do they call it? Like Baopals. Baopals for it is it also sells in China and products in China, but for them they have a kind of a different way. They are not a platform. They sell actually there. It's like a bigger shop. They sell those kind of products, but it's from themselves. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Then what makes you different from those people? What have you brought in that is new and more convenient as compared to existing platforms?
All right. So first, with Motherland Stuff, that's at least what we are almost similar. But for Motherland Stuff, I've found that yes, they can have products, but first, our strong point is that our mini program, our website is in English, but for them, like a lot of them, they are still in Chinese, and it has been so like for the last 1 year, at least that I know, and then also, so for us, we have that vision, and we have started right away with English. And we are also, we built it in a way it will be easier for us to incorporate like French and Arabic. And the second thing is that our customer service, at least for us, the customer service, like maybe in Motherland Stuff, you can't chat a seller, but on our platform, it's very easy to chat a seller, and also you can also contact us. We are already having a team of customer support that can support you anytime and with everything you need. But yes, of course, we have working time from 9 to 6 p.m. Yes.
Okay, and yeah, thank you very much. Just as a suggestion, because you are talking about the other languages to be added to the platform. But I think that since we are at this, let's say, cultural exchange and mutual understanding between African and Chinese youth, I think that it could be beneficial for us to also add Chinese to your platform. Because if we are bringing African product to the Chinese market, it's not only for African or foreign people living in China. We also wish that Chinese could also get to know about some African product. So I believe that if you add Chinese to the platform, that could also attract more Chinese so that they can get to know more about African product. Because on the long run, based on my personal vision, is that okay, we could even get enough demand from Chinese population in such a way that we could also help people back home increase their own production, so that this could also contribute, to the development on both sides. So please, kindly take this into consideration.
Yes, sir. Actually, we have also that in mind. In the multi-language, we have Chinese also is part. And another thing is that kind of like trying to reveal also what we are bringing. We are also going to incorporate a live streaming inside our mini program inside there. So, and there we want to encourage actually foreigners to try their best to cooperate with Chinese, to be able to continue to live stream and attract even Chinese to be buying. But the Chinese need to be convincing for them to buy a product. So that's why we'll bring out live streaming also to see that we can tackle a Chinese market. That would be very awesome. And yeah, and thank you really for the suggestion. It's really matching with our vision.
Okay, thank you very much. One more question from Mr. Eric. Can you hear me, Eric? You are not speaking.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so tell me, how do you balance, because Mr. Pacific is not a director, a CEO, is no longer a student. So I would like to know, how do you balance that? How do you do with your studies? How do you do with the company? How do you find that balance point?
All right, thanks very much. That's a very interesting question. So, first suggestion is that actually I think when we are coming up with startups, I think Pacific also mentioned something about it, that we should try to pick something that we are interested in, sort of our hobbies, right? So, for me, what happened was when I did my bachelor's, I studied applied physics. And then I found out that actually I have more interest in social entrepreneurship because I've always been, doing a lot of public social welfare. So that has already been in me. I mean, even when I was still in Zimbabwe, I did a lot of that. And after I came here, I started doing that. So I decided that my master's, I was going to change from applied physics to something that is related to social, public social welfare, and maybe that's why I switched to social sciences. I started studying international affairs and global governance. So with that, it just means that when I'm doing my social entrepreneurship, it's more of social practice to add up to my theoretical studies, so the two complement each other. So I don't have much pressure with that. So I also recommend that when we are still students, if you are still a student and you want to venture into entrepreneurship, it is more convenient that you pick something that is related to what you are studying, rather than a big space. If I was still studying applied physics, then doing my social entrepreneurship, then that was going to be a very big challenge for me. I was going to quit one of the two, just my thinking. But and now, it's because it's related to what I'm studying. It's also my hobby. It's not like I'm just going to work or something like that. It's something that I'm interested in. I take social entrepreneurship to my heart. So I think one of the most important thing is that make sure that you pick something that you are really interested in, and actually it is a bit convenient for you to live right with your studies. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Eric, thank you very much. As you just mentioned, I really understand that passion is very important in whatever you do. As Mr. Pacific also spoke earlier, if you are to maybe try to start up, like to set up a company, you should have something here in the bottom of your heart that you are willing to give to the society. Because the vision is very, very important in whatever you do. Then you first add value to the society, and that value brings you money. But if you are just after money, then it becomes very difficult, especially when you sometimes will be called to multitask. Yeah, you will feel the burden. Yeah, thank you very much.
Sorry, just 1
Thank you,
minute,
thank you
because
very
I
much.
have to put my car where I park it is not good, just 1 minute. And please, before I leave, I just want to ask you guys, two of you, the same question. You're talking about the business bringing in China, but there's something very important you guys have to think about and involve in your websites or your things you are organizing. For example, like the culture exchange is very important, because many people don't understand the African culture. And the African people that want to come with their groups here don't know the Chinese culture. So think about it, that we really need to have this exchange rate. With this one, we'll make the business very smooth. That's my own advice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sister Malia. Yeah, that's actually very important, and actually that's the focus of Broad Path Leaders. We don't have a physical products like our brother Pacific here, but we are into cultural exchanges, as I mentioned before. So It's actually very important that actually, because the most important thing, like how I view this thing is like, when we sell African products, we are not only selling products, but the culture as well. So we should try to actually first, try to improve these people-to-people exchanges between the Africans and the Chinese, so that our products can be accepted more, because it happens the same for other products from other regions, right? They have done a lot in actually, bringing their culture to the local market. So whenever they push their products, it's very easy to push it, because the culture is already well understood. So we should do the same. For those live streamers, if you are going to watch a live streamer doing the live stream, you will see something that is quite interesting. When they're introducing the product, they won't be talking about this box is how large. This is just a little part of it. Maybe it will just last maybe for 2 seconds, and after that they start telling you the history behind the product, why we designed this, and even how our people started drinking tea in our country, and all those kind of things. So what I think is, we should actually put a lot of focus in these cultural exchanges, because they will affect our African products on how they are going to be accepted by the local market. So thanks a lot, Sister Marie.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you very much.
If you can also, I think, just introduce yourself as well, because yes, thank you.
Yeah, okay, thank you. My name is Abaka Yusuf. I'm the president of Chadian, the Association of Chadian Students here in China. Thank you for this brilliant presentation, Eric and Pacific. And thank you for UNIFOR to arrange this amazing event. I'm here on behalf of all Chinese students living here in China. Most of them, they have idea. They didn't start yet, but they have the idea. And I think there is one of my friends, he wants to join today, but he didn't. Maybe he didn't. He has some obstacles. He didn't come today. But he has the idea of launching his business here in China. He wants to move to perfume, products from my country to China here. But when we are a student, we have ideas, but when we see China, there is a lot of government policies, rules, a lot of things. It's not easy to start. So when I see Pacific, he started as a student. He has his office just behind the university. I was surprised. And my question is, how did you manage to face all these obstacles when it comes to government policies, rules, and this is my question.
All right. Thank you so much. It's really a challenge sometimes when you are going to start a business and you are still a student. But at least when I see first what helped me is that, so first thing is that the same with what Eric has said is the passion. The passion keeps you going, right? The passion keeps you going and you don't want to give up, right? Second thing that at least helped me is that I knew Chinese. The Chinese language, I cannot really tell you how much value the knowing Chinese has really done for me, or how many doors it has created for me. But really, if you have an opportunity to learn Chinese, do, because it will help you navigate easily and understand even more opportunity here in China. So another thing is that I've joined myself to an incubator now. So there is an incubator that we are working with here in Shaoxing. So this incubator has actually, they have founders. We have then they enrolled us in the incubation, and then this way our network was expanded, and then we have, because one of the things is like money you are spending, but incubators make it easier because they can give you a working space that you don't need to pay sometimes. Maybe they can even offer where you have to stay. So you just maybe need to focus only on your business. So it depends. There are many kind of incubators also, but you have to choose the one that you think will benefit from you. But yes, 3 things. Choose something that you are passionate about. If possible, if you have a Chinese language, that would be a plus. Or maybe you have a very intimate friend who is a Chinese to help you through. The third, join yourself to an incubator if you see that money is not something that you are finding at hand right now. Right. So that's what I can tell you.
Okay, so
I hope I answered your question.
Yes, of course. But I have another question. It's like my question is what kind of obstacles that you, when you start your business, that you face when it comes to Chinese, government policies, all these rules.
Okay. For me, most of the problem, because the first time before maybe I registered my company, because most of the time I was not registered as a company. I just had a company back home, and then kind of like I was running my product under that company. So I didn't force myself into Chinese rules and regulations at that time. I was just communicating directly to my customers. But actually, one thing rather that was a bit of a complication is because I was running alone. I was doing things alone, and I'll be the one to be inviting people to come to my platform, and then at the same time, I will be the one fixing, improving my software, and at the same time, I'll be the customer support. And at the same time, I will be the manager, things like that. So, which was really difficult. But then, of course, I was saying that's where now you test your passion. Are you passionate about what you're doing? But then later, I understood that it's better that I look for people who are there and are like-minded, they want to have the same vision, and they bring them together. So I found that if you work together, you achieve more. Yeah, so but with concerning the policies when I was starting, there was really not a big problem for me. So maybe when after I launched, that's where now I started seeing the first problem that I faced is the visa problem, which was a bit complicated and bumpy in a way. But through the help of my Chinese language, I've gone through calls, a lot of calls asking them, what if I have this, what if I have that, and documenting myself to other startups. And we managed on how we can get the visa through my company. Yeah, so I don't really have a concrete way of saying maybe this is how you cope with policies. What I can just say is that keep knowing the information that are around and broaden your network so that you can find help whenever you need.
Okay, thank you very much. I do have a question as well. Okay, go first, please, ladies first. Okay.
Okay, my name is Ziki, and I am a media personality from Zimbabwe. First of all, I just want to thank you for organizing this event. It's really eye-opening. Information is lacking out there. It might seem like it's easy because you see everyone is doing something on WeChat, but when it comes to really, getting down to what is really happening, you find that a lot of people, they're missing information. So I also wanted to ask, do we have enough platforms with, with information that is easy to comprehend. Because when you start to go on, on internet to start to look for information, it is very complicated. Like you feel like this is impossible. So for those people who are like running businesses like Pacific and Eric, I think you run around a lot. Are there any platforms that are there for people to actually access information, especially students in universities, so that they can go through, like I was saying, policies? When you go through these policies, you can't really understand anything. You just give up. From one sentence, you cannot do anything, all right? So this is my question. And another one is, okay, now we have the issue of people who are running businesses, especially young Africans. They do have the information because now their businesses are running. But when you go to them to ask for information, they become agents. They start charging you money, a lot of money. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to start a business. Where do I get the money to start paying you 15,000 RMB just for you to help me to start a business? So these are some of the issues, such that when information is put out easily and in a very light way that anyone can understand, it's easy for everyone to start a business. And for Eric, I'm really proud of you. Eric is my countryman, my young brother. I'm really proud of what you're doing, and we see it, and we want you to continue to be teaching the young people. We do have a lot of people who still have this notion or this negative, image of China-Africa cooperation, who just look at what is being discussed in groups, what is being discussed on WeChat groups, but they don't really understand that some young people are actually prospering, okay, in China-Africa cooperation. So, Eric, continue to do what you're doing, and also to my brother, Pacific, I'm actually using your application, Agagoti. Yes, I'm actually using it. Yeah. Yes, so actually I'm very happy and pleased to see you here, talking about your journey. So this is all I want to say right now.
Thank you very much, Sister Ziki. And actually about the issue of information, that one is actually, because for some platforms, some might, that actually might be their business, because there are some consultants, companies, so they would try to reduce the amount of information that they're sharing, and maybe they might ask you to pay for a certain fee. But then I think we can benefit from platforms like ULaunch, like this one, and also a couple of incubators. They actually have the information, and if you go there with the notion to actually try to start up something, they'll be very helpful. But online, some of the information is missing online. And hopefully, if we continuously have this kind of brainstorming sessions where we can share some ideas and all that, so that the information can reach a greater audience, I think it will be helpful to all other African young entrepreneurs who are in China. So I think there is still a lot that has to be done to actually, alleviate this information gap and see how we can, unearth those young talents that are hidden there because of lack of information. So thank you very much for bringing that to our attention as everyone is here, and hopefully ULaunch is listening to that, and after this they will do something about it. So thank you very much.
Okay, sister, I would like to just say some few words regarding your concerns about people charging you too much. I would say, as Pacific said before, when you would like to set up a company in China, there are a lot of paperwork. And I believe that most of those agents, they are charging you for all these processes regarding the translation. So I would advise every foreign student studying in China who has this, at least a very tiny intention of starting something in China, please focus on Chinese language.
True.
And focus on Chinese culture. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult for you. You can't do anything by yourself. Because all these rules, all these regulations regarding companies, opening, taxes and so on, they are being updated every day, on a daily basis. But if you are unable to read all this information online, then you will find yourself in trouble. Yeah, so I think that if you are, or otherwise you can also find some very good Chinese maid that will take through that process. Otherwise, all those guys out there, for example, see anyone that is calling Chinese here, he will just tell you, I'm having a consulting company, I do translation. And then when you come in, his translation, that's the money he's getting from you actually. Yeah, because all those things are online, but you are just unable to get them. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, you go first.
And just to add on top of what Brother Patrice said, actually I think Pacific also touched on it, that you should try by all means if you can to find a Chinese partner to work with. That would actually reduce a lot of inconveniences for you. So for me, when I actually registered a company for my platform, I found a Chinese partner who I worked with together. And of course, Chinese also helped me a lot. I do a lot of things by myself because I understand the language. But for some other things, you might also still need a partner to work with and actually make sure that it makes your work easier. Yeah, so if you cannot speak Chinese, you cannot understand a lot of Chinese, it's actually advised that you try to find a partner. And if you can also still find a partner. I think a lot of African entrepreneurs who have been running their enterprises, they've done it that way. Pacific is here, and also even I think the most it was Olivia here. I think it's also one and the same thing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I will have a very quick question. I know the topic is, launching the African products in China, but my question will touch on sustainability. And by that, I mean, how relevant are your respective platforms for the African continent? We're launching a product, yes. It's one thing, but then we say, okay, it's one thing to plant a tree, but you have to water it so that it grows, okay? It's another thing to make it sustainable, but then we're still talking about China. How relevant are your relative platforms to the continent? Do you, in a way, try to, if you can also briefly share about maybe your long-term goals. Are you planning on also setting some bases in the continent? Because if you set a product, whatever big, whatever great is it, without making any change, any impact, any development in the continent, for me is not sustainable. So, how are both of your platforms relating to the African continent?
All right. Okay. So maybe I should start. So with Nearby, of course, yes, we start focusing on a niche market on foreigners who are here in China. But as we progress, the next thing we are going to do is to have another phase of people sourcing products in China very easily. So as we'll be having those connections and network and many products of Africa, it's going to be easy to build trust and to make it easier for people to even source some products in China, connect manufacturers together, and then you can find easily, like maybe our sellers who are in Africa can also find products here in China and sell them back home. That's one facet of Nearby. But another thing, maybe in the overall of my company, is that my company, I always have it as a vision is, I want to have two companies here in China and in Rwanda, my home country. That's why actually I have two companies that I registered in both places, and I have offices in both here in China and also in Africa. So which means that it's going to be, my vision is going to be like, I have to take the technology here, help maybe Chinese workers do on a technology, but actively be thinking on a gap, how can this technology close the gap back in my country. So with the cooperation, with having both eyes on the ground, it will be very easy to transfer the technology. I can even take 3 Chinese, let's go and do something for 1 month, come back, bring some workers from Rwanda, come in China, so things like that, and we'll synchronize technology in that. I really have that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually a very important question. Thank you for that. Yeah, there are